Gotta hand it to you, nice scheme. Costume's a bit theatrical, but hey, who am I to talk?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 Mark Hamill voice acting roles. Beware of minor spoilers ahead.
You will obey me, or this defiant breath will be your last.
Number 20, The Trickster, various DC animated projects.
Heck with all of them. I'm an artist. They're just robbing banks. Captain Cold, Captain Boomerang. Probably would have gone for it if I was a captain.
Over a decade after Mark Hamill first played the Trickster on the live-action Flash TV show, he was invited to voice the character for an episode of Justice League Unlimited. In a sharp contrast to his more famous DC role, this villain wasn't seen as a legitimate threat. Heroes and bad guys alike wrote off the Trickster as a second-rate prankster. While the character could have come off as obnoxious, Hamill made us sympathize for the villain whenever he was down.
Well, if that's the way you're gonna be, forget about it. I quit. Nobody gets me.
After voicing Trickster on Unlimited, the actor returned to the role several more times. We're sure Hamill is always welcome to come back and crack another joke while playing this poor prankster.
You're my favorite actor.
I loved in that 70s classic about a young lad who fights impossible odds to fulfill his destiny. What was that called? Oh yeah, Corvette Summer.
Number 19, Larry 3000, Time Squad.
Thank you. And you're a robot, right?
Ooh, it seems we have a genius in our midst.
If you were ever curious what the famous Star Wars actor would sound like if he were a droid, then we have an underrated animated show for you. On Time Squad, Hamill played a robot named Larry 3000. The snooty character spent a majority of his screen time criticizing his allies and enemies. Throughout the show, it was fun to see the high and mighty character get humbled again and again. And since Larry 3000 was made out of metal, he could be rebuilt every time he took a hilariously hard hit. It's tragic that Hamill's robot never got the chance to meet a certain uptight Star Wars droid before the short-lived show ran out of airtime.
That's why we have to constantly repair the past and keep our future strong. Thank you, and good night.
Number 18, Sticky Beard, codename Kids Next Door.
Brave warriors ye young'uns be, but ye be no match for Sticky Beard, the stickiest pirate ever to sail the summer.
This sugar-coated pirate might be the sweetest villain that Hamill has ever played. Whenever Sticky Beard sailed into the show, he tried to steal every piece of candy he could. While the Cavity Captain wasn't exactly scary, his goals consistently brought him into conflict with the kids next door. Every time Hamill played Sticky Beard, you could tell he was having a blast portraying the over-the-top villain. The voice captured all the stereotypical pirate mannerisms we've grown to expect without losing the actor's trademark tones. It was always a delight to sail the sugary seas with Sticky Beard.
I ain't leaving without the boy, John. He may be stupid, but I'm willing to fight for him, unless ye be sugar-free.
Number 17, Art Rosenbaum, Invincible.
Prom dresses by day, indestructible supersuits by night. I'm Art Rosenbaum, kid. Pleasure to finally meet you.
We wouldn't be surprised if fans didn't catch who was voicing the world's best superhero tailor right away. Normally, Hamill plays characters who steal scenes with their sinister actions or attention-grabbing tones. But for Invincible, the actor delivers a very subtle performance. Art is a kind-hearted man who genuinely wants to connect with the godly beings he works for. Whenever anyone needs a shoulder to lean on, the tailor welcomes them into his shop with open arms.
How are you holding up? Scratch that stupid question. What can I do for you?
Hamill's heartwarming art performance serves as a great demonstration of his range. While we already knew he could play outlandish villains, this role solidified that he's great at portraying side characters with a ton of heart. Number 16, The Watcher, Darksiders. Before the Horsemen of War could go on an epic journey to determine Earth's fate, he had to agree to let the Watcher tag along. This vicious entity kept trying to push the main hero towards taking the most violent route forward. Hamill made sure that each and every one of the Watcher's lines was dripping with sadistic glee.
Until this is over, you're a dog on a leash. I say bark, you bark. And if I have to kick you, you'd better not bare your teeth.
Despite being much less bulky than the Horsemen of War, the entity had no problem taunting the protagonist. While the Watcher may not be one of Hamill's most well-known roles, it definitely deserves to be recognized. We certainly do not agree with everything the Watcher says, but he had so much fun giving the hero grief that we couldn't help but root for him.
Are you not entertained?
Number 15. Arnim Zola, multiple Marvel projects.
Unfortunate, misguided children. You cannot defeat my Hydra army. These artificial constructs are the perfect soldiers.
Whatever casting director thought it would be a good idea to ask Hamill to play an iconic Marvel mad scientist deserves a raise. We knew the actor was the perfect choice as soon as we heard Zola's voice. Instead of bringing manic energy to the booth, Hamill made sure that the scientist sounded arrogant and confident. It was the perfect approach to play a hateful character who lived to bring his former evil organization back to glory. Zola also loved to stop and gloat about the mistakes his enemies were making. Since 2015, Hamill has voiced the scientist over a dozen times. Marvel executives clearly love what he brings to the table as Zola.
A few more jolts will be the end of poor Hawkeye. Oh, if only someone might help him.
Number 14. Abraham Kane, Motor City.
Attention, Motor City scum! Abraham Kane here, live from Deluxe, where it's safe and clean and the sun always shines.
In a futuristic version of America, a cruel businessman spends every waking moment trying to conquer the city that lies underneath a new version of Detroit. Abraham Kane is tasked with coming up with twisted plans to take out his foes while keeping his rage issues in check. While it would have been easy to write him off as a one-note villain, Hamill added a lot of texture to the role.
Look at me, Mike. Do you know what it took for me to get where I am?
I don't know, sir.
Dedication to the good of Deluxe, without hesitation. Are you ready for that?
Kane genuinely believed that his actions would ultimately benefit society as a whole. Unfortunately for his enemies, he didn't care what they lost if it got him closer to winning the day. Although Hamill only got to voice Kane for a season, his nuanced performance made the big bad unforgettable.
Tough day, huh, son? Perhaps it's time to reconsider my offer.
Number 13. Chucky, Child's Play.
Hi, are you my best buddy?
Hamill gave one of the most terrifying performances of his career when he brought an iconic doll to life. When his Chucky first came out of the box, it genuinely sounded like a nice toy. But everything changed after Hamill's doll learned about how violent the world was. Every time it committed an act of cruelty, its voice got just a little bit darker.
You can't run away from me now. See? They're all leaving you, but not me.
After a while, his once sweet tones began sounding like the stuff of nightmares. It was incredible to watch Hamill's voice transform over the course of one film. While it would be great to see him return to the role, we're not sure we'd be able to sleep if he were cast to play Chucky more frequently.
Now it's going to be you and me forever.
Number 12. Adrien Ripberger, Full Throttle. This point-and-click video game stood out from many others during this era, as it featured an experienced and well-known voice cast, with Hamill serving as the primary antagonist.
I thought you might like some help with your sales pitch, sir.
Sales pitch?
Yes. We have come here today to offer you and your men employment.
The scheming and manipulative Ripberger is the vice president of a motorcycle company in the not-so-distant future, who aims to take control of the business with an evil plan involving betrayal and murder. Perhaps worst of all, he would change the company to produce minivans. Despite graphical and technological limitations of the time, Hamill gives a great performance in this cult classic.
You know, this reminds me of an amusing anecdote about
Number 11. Skeleton King, Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go.
Doomed citizens, surrender and bow to my will.
It was hard to choose which skeletal voice role deserved the biggest shout-out.
Oh my God, we are.
Hamill did a great job at putting a new spin on Skeletor. But in the end, we think the actor deserves even more credit for originating the role of the Skeleton King. This ambitious conqueror had no patience for incompetent minions or brave heroes. If you got on the Skeleton King's bad side, there's no guarantee you'd see tomorrow.
People are rarely who they appear. Socko is no mere monkey, and you, my dear, are not even human.
Hamill made every single word that came out of the character's mouth sound absolutely horrifying. If you decide to revisit this role, be prepared for the goosebumps you'll get whenever the Skeleton King speaks.
At last, the fates have brought us together.
Number 10. Senator Stampingston, Metalocalypse.
These freaks, as you call them, are currently worth billions.
Although Senator Stampingston could have gotten lost on the dark side of Hamill's IMDb credits, the role stuck out because it was on such a unique show. Metalocalypse followed the fictional death metal band Deathclock, and opposed to these rockers was a shady and mysterious group known as the Tribunal.
Gentlemen, it appears as if Deathclock is back.
As the primary member, Stampingston was featured in most episodes. Hamill's stoic, devious portrayal brought a foreboding and dangerous sense to the Tribunal, while being in stark opposition to the less logical members of the group, who had the tendency to fly off the handle.
Dr. Galkinsmelter, please behave yourself!
Number 9. Alvin the Treacherous, DreamWorks Dragons.
We're there for one man, the Dragon Conqueror.
Based on the popular film How to Train Your Dragon, the Dragons TV show expanded on an already great franchise. The show added to the lore set up in the first film in a number of ways, which included bringing in a human antagonist, Alvin the Treacherous. This exiled Viking sought revenge against the village of Berk and its chief Stoic. Alvin managed to be an imposing presence, while somehow also bringing in a bit of humor as the nemesis to the series' heroes.
Oh, Heather, I'm waiting.
In later seasons, Alvin became a more complex character and shifted from complete villain into more of an anti-hero role, and Hamill's voice work made the transition seamless.
Losing everything tends to make a man say things differently.
Number 8. Wolverine X2, Wolverine's Revenge.
There was no reason to do what they did. No reason at all.
It may surprise some to know that Hamill lent his voice to Marvel's most famous mutant, Wolverine, in video game form. Ever the chameleon of voice roles, Hamill brought the gruffness and grittiness that Wolverine is known for to this video game, which, despite being released to tie into X-Men 2, was an original story that incorporated the larger Marvel universe. At the same time, the legendary voice actor added the perfect touch of humor to bring variety to his Wolverine.
We'll hold fire on the celebrations. Security looks tighter than one of Jean's costumes.
Along with his tough persona, Hamill managed to bring a sense of wonder and discovery to Wolverine as he attempted to piece together his mysterious past.
Revenge is a twisting, searing fire that burns deep in your belly. Take it away and you're left to face up to the reality of who and what you are.
Number 7. Master Ericus, the Kingdom Hearts franchise.
Today you will be examined for the mark of mastery.
Fans of this video game series were thrilled when they first realized that Master Ericus had a strangely familiar voice. Within the franchise, Hamill plays a firm and caring Keyblade master who seeks to train his pupils to fend off the forces of darkness. Although he has the best of intentions, his devotion to the light puts him at odds with enemies who were once his friends. Hamill's voice carries a ton of strength and authority. Whenever he's pushed to his limits, he adopts a sharp tone that cuts deeper than any Keyblade.
Has the darkness taken you, Terra?
Hamill's masterful work made what could have been a typical mentor role into one of the most iconic performances in the franchise. Number 6. Darth Bane, Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Do you know who I am?
Although Luke Skywalker has become one of the most iconic heroes of all time, Hamill's voice acting career primarily consists of villain roles. In a climactic episode of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Hamill got to turn to the dark side as the Sith Lord Darth Bane.
You must kill me to gain my place.
Fans of Bane, who had a rich history in the non-canonical expanded universe, were surely glad to see his canon appearance in the Clone Wars. The fact that Hamill provided the character's voice was just the icing on the cake, making for an unforgettable episode of the series.
You do not fear me?
No. Exist. You do not anymore.
Number 5. Musa, Castle in the Sky.
Well, looks like we caught a little princess.
When Hayao Miyazaki's 1986 adventure film Castle in the Sky was first released in America, it received a hastily thrown-together low-budget dub that failed to impress many. As Miyazaki started to gain a following in the United States, however, it received a much better voice dub, bringing in actors like Anna Paquin, James Vanderbeek, and, of course, Mark Hamill.
The force of the sacred light has brought the robot back to life!
As Colonel Musa, Hamill brought a sense of evil and despair to one of the few characters in Miyazaki's films that was wholly unredeemable, filled with greed and unrelenting ambition. At the same time, Musa was also an incredibly fun villain, and that's largely because Hamill is so good at being bad.
Why don't you give me the stone and the girl will live? Otherwise, I'll kill her.
Number 4. The Hobgoblin, Spider-Man.
Name's Hobgoblin, and you're right on time for your funeral.
It shouldn't come as a shock to anybody that Hamill, who has voiced a number of villainous comic book characters, appeared as one of Spider-Man's greatest foes in this awesome 90s cartoon.
Finders, keepers, losers, weepers.
In a show with a number of straight-laced villains, Hobgoblin stood out thanks to his unhinged nature, perfectly portrayed by Hamill's manic voice work.
Sorry, but there's no profit to be made in my own annihilation.
Hobgoblin proved to be a great foil for Spider-Man, as well as a number of other villains, betraying them and acting highly unpredictable every step of the way. This made him such an interesting and out-of-the-ordinary foe, and he stole every scene he was in.
Talk, or I'll give your right-hand man his severance pay.
Number 3. Fire Lord Ozai, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
You will learn respect, and suffering will be your teacher.
Airing on Nickelodeon, Avatar featured impactful themes and a number of complex characters. The show's main villain was no exception, and Hamill brilliantly portrayed a man obsessed with obtaining absolute power by any means necessary.
You will obey me, or this defiant breath will be your last.
As Ozai, Hamill managed to convey a terrifying and intimidating character bent on world domination, with little regard for anything other than his own ambition.
I am the Phoenix King.
He proved relentless in his pursuit for power, usurping the throne from his grieving brother and literally scarring his son, Prince Zuko. Even when the Fire Lord was kept hidden in the shadows, Hamill's voice was more than enough to send a shiver up our spines.
Get out!
Number 2. Skips, Regular Show.
You guys shouldn't be doing what you just did.
Every once in a while, Hamill will play a good guy. And in the world of Regular Show, who is a better guy than Skips?
Okay, I'm here, and I brought my bays.
More often than not, Mordecai and Rigby find themselves in a tough situation. So they call upon their immortal Yeti friend to get them out of trouble.
Climb up top, but don't press start until I say.
Hamill manages to convey a wise and impressive figure that consistently seems to know the mysteries of the universe. It's no wonder that Skips has become such a popular character, with Hamill's zany attitude being a perfect fit for the show's surreal and off-the-wall style.
Don't worry, we'll have this place cleaned up in no time. Right, Skips?
I've seen worse.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Joker, the DC Animated Universe.
You stink so bad I can smell you from here!
Few voice actors are as closely tied to iconic roles as Mark Hamill is to the Joker, playing the part in multiple films, TV shows, and video game adaptations for over 3 decades. Despite multiple highly accomplished voice actors playing the part before and since Hamill's take on the role, he will always be synonymous with the villain.
Not on my show.
Hamill manages to walk the tightrope between insane madman and devious mastermind with his frighteningly good voice work.
Big old bats has fallen down. I'm so happy.
His over-the-top devious laughter, bad puns, and general menace provide a perfect foil to Batman, or any number of other DC superheroes the Joker has gone up against over the years.
Hello? my party's been disconnected.
What's your favorite Mark Hamill vocal performance? Shout it out in the comments below.
We are but pawns in a universal game of good versus evil.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.